Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. We are here and just ready to rock and roll today. So, as always, we're sponsored by Dale's Outdoor Advertising. These guys are a phenomenal group of people that work in digital and traditional billboard space. Currently, their market is from Pocatello to Blackfoot. But if you call them at 232-6886 and ask for Rob and tell them you heard about them from the podcast, and tell them you want to sign up for at least a 3-month deal with billboards, they will give you your installation for free or your first month for free, just by mentioning that you heard about them on the podcast. So give them a call. Good way to get out there, get some exposure in front of your potential and future clients. So, all right, we are privileged today to have Kevin Snow. He's not an Idaho guy, but this guy is like a sales, ninja master. This guy is the guy to talk to when it comes to growth and sales and automation. He is also a podcast host of the Growth Mode Growth Mode podcast. He is an author, public speaker. He's the founder of Time on Target. And in the last 12 years of helping his clients with growing their businesses and automating their sales, he's contributed to help them close over 150 million in total sales. That's a huge number of people. So this guy knows what he's talking about. He's also currently serving in the U.S. military, so we appreciate your service as well.
You're welcome.
And this guy is just a well-rounded individual, and we're happy to have him on the show. So welcome to the show, Kevin. Did I mess anything up?
No, I think you've got it all covered. Thanks for having me today, Spencer. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, I am too. Well, cool. So you're out there in Minnesota, a little farther away from Idaho, but you're still accustomed to the cold that we have as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's minus degrees today here, plus a wind chill, so it's awesome.
Yeah, we're not in the minus temperatures. I think we're in the 20s today. So yeah, we're a little more comfortable than you are. But yeah, so you've been in what got you interested in sales and where you're at now?
So actually, if we go all the way back to college, I'm actually supposed to be a high school agriculture teacher and a high school wrestling coach. That's what I have a degree and certificates in. But I graduated and I started interviewing for teaching jobs, and I was interviewed for other options too, because I wasn't really sure about the whole teaching thing. And I got offered a teaching job at $19,000 a year. And at the same time, I got offered a sales job in corporate sales for a tech firm, national long distance data, all that high end technology stuff, with a $39,000 base plus commission. So I'm like, I have school loans to pay. I guess I'm moving to Minnesota and I'm going to be a salesperson. So I moved to Minnesota and I started in tech sales, and I moved from selling for the long distance company to I sold for Nextel for a while. If you remember the phones that had the walkie-talkie in them, I was a president's counsel for them, number one rep in the market in Twin Cities for them. Did that, sold MSPs, managed services. I sold Salesforce for a while back when they were Salesforce.com. So yeah, I've always been in that tech sales world, and I just really liked it. And I've discovered I really had a knack for technology. And I learned going through the sales motions of how to communicate the benefits of the tech without getting bogged down in all the features and bells and whistles. And what normally happens when someone tries to sell you a technology item is like, hey, it can do all these things. And instead, my focus is always on, hey, here's what these things can actually do for you. Here's how you can grow your business. Here's how it's going to make your life, Mr. Owner, a lot easier. And that was really the turning point in my sales career. It's like, oh, all right, so I now know how to sell. And I was able to really leverage that and take that same concept and move it into all the different things I did, and to the point where I launched my own company. And I really didn't launch my company because I wanted to have a company or be a business owner. It was out of necessity. I had been working with a networking organization, and I was really good at helping launch new chapters for them and launch them really quickly and really big. And other regions were saying, hey, Kevin, can you come in and teach our team? And we'll pay for you to come in. We'll give you a stipend. We'll pay for all your food. It'll be awesome. So people wanted to give me money to speak and to train. So I was like, I need a company. So I started Time on Target as a training public speaking firm with me as the product. So wow. I was flying all over the country. I was doing webinars for international regions. Companies were hiring me to come in and train on networking, which was awesome. I taught multiple downtown law firms how to network and how their junior lawyers could actually build their own book of business. And it was really cool. And then I deployed. And I was in Kuwait. We were running missions in and around all of Iraq. And I got to go over to Afghanistan for a month during that time as well. But when I came back, I had nothing in my pipeline. I had nothing on my calendar for speaking gigs. I was like, it was the stereotypical moment in my career. It's like, oh God, now what do I do? I've just found the major flaw in my business model. I can't be gone. And being in the military, and at that time, it's like, well, I'm probably going to do this again in 3 or 4 years. So I either need to go find a normal job, or I need to figure out a business model that actually allows me to scale and grow so that I don't have to be here and I can still be generating revenue and working with clients and have an operating business when I come back. The whole idea of launching my business every 4 years was not appealing to me. So I figured out, all right, so here's what the next thing is. And I figured out how I wanted to pivot so that the speaking wasn't the product, it was now the prospecting. And so we pivoted into consulting, where we were coming into businesses. And ideally, I worked with a lot of tech firms, startup software as a service companies, managed services, cybersecurity as a service. And we'd come in and we'd help them go from that first stage growth through that second stage growth cycle and actually add a sales team. So we'd help them figure out, hey, here's how you interview. Here's how you write a job description. Here's how you're going to train them. Here's how you manage them. We mapped out the sales process for them, helped them figure out, integrate the technology into it. And we do this whole 6 to 9 month process with them to help them hit that next scaling plateau. And it was awesome. But I started figuring out there were parts of that I didn't like either. Normally the interviewing. That took up all my time. I'd have a client in the interview phase. And I'm like, well, you're the only client I can work with for the next 3 weeks because I have 40 interviews going on. So we started to niche down into what we offered and how we helped those clients. We got rid of all the interviewing and all that stuff and really started niching down to the process and how companies sell and helping them understand how their target clients actually made those purchasing decisions so those processes could match up. And then we brought in the automation piece because it just made sense. Instead of bringing in another partner to do it, I was already helping design the process. It just made sense for my company to also do the automation, build out all those triggers and the actual campaigns. And that's where we are at now, where we really just focus on helping companies figure out how they sell and make it more efficient and more effective.
I like that. I like it a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying, hey, we're growing every year. We're doing fine. But I know there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that business owners, even probably myself, that are doing, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yep. Well, and there's a difference between, are you growing or are you scaling? Growing is just adding revenue. scaling is actually growing your business. And are you adding on, if you're scaling, you're adding on more crews, you're adding on more things that are actually doing work for clients, you're adding on new product sets, that's what scaling is. And that's where it gets to the point where the CEO's they're always going to be the number one salesperson in the company, and any CEO that tells you they're not is lying. But there's going to be a point where they actually need to have that sales team that is doing stuff. And that's really where my niche was with my clients at that point, was actually helping them make that transition. Because my clients were all self-aware that, hey, I can sell my stuff, but I have no clue about how to manage a sales team. Mm-hmm. So, moving from that into, hey, here's how you do it more effectively. I'm working with the smaller clients now. They're not as big, they're not at that same level, but they're at that point where they're growing, they've figured it out, and now they're trying to figure out how to be effective and how to use their time efficiently so they can hold off on adding headcount, but they can grow the revenue so they can set themselves up to make that next big jump.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's huge. Yeah, I think sometimes we pigeonhole ourselves in just revenue, and it's just revenue focused, when it really is. It should be more scale related for sure.
And it's a really fine definition. It's easy to interchange the words. And we work with, with my business partner, we do a couple of masterminds where we're helping companies figure out this whole scaling thing. And it's a mindset shift. I'm having speaking issues today too, evidently. It's a mindset shift for them to think about, growth just as the number. Hey, here's how much money I brought in. We're growing month over month, and the scaling, the actual, all right, so how are the operations getting bigger? How are we expanding our presence? And understanding that those two go hand in hand, but they're different.
I like that. It's huge. Well, going back to what you talked about before, of like how you positioned yourself when you were selling for Nexus or any of those other companies, I liked what you mentioned about instead of telling you about all the bells and whistles that this thing had to offer, you were speaking directly to them and how this will make their life better, make their life easier, and how it's going to just solve a lot of their problems. And I think that's huge. I think that's for me, that's the number one takeaway for a lot of people is speak to their pain, speak to their problem,
Yeah. And it's even a step further. It's speaking to the results that they want to have, mm-hmm. and understanding where they want to be and what's keeping them from getting there, so that you can give them a way through that roadblock. For when I was at Nextel, cell phones are just starting to become commoditized. So everyone was starting to, $50 a month, and it was a big price thing. My average revenue per user was $150, because they'd have the voice plan, there's a data plan, and then the add-on, the feature that was going to make them all the money. And none of them balked at the $150 a month. I tripled their cell bill a lot of times, but they're like, you're going to make me thousands of dollars a month because all my guys can do like 4 extra jobs. And I'm going to get, we were doing a demo for one, and he caught his guy sitting at the casino. I'm like, do you have a job at the casino? He's like, no. So he called him up while I was in the office. He's like, yeah, I just stopped, I'm at McDonald's grabbing lunch. Sure you are. And it was fixing a need that was making them more effective and more efficient. And, I threw out the pitch deck, that whole, the book where you can flip through and show all the nice graphics and talk about stuff. They're like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Here's how I'm selling. And it was all questioning and getting them to tell me stuff about what's going on in the world, and then figuring out, all right, here's how I can help. If I can do this, does that help you? Yes. All right, awesome. Let's talk more. Let's talk about how that works, and getting to the conversation there. It was completely switching it from the style of selling where it's all about the sales guy and their product, and moving it to it's all about you. None of my clients cared how long Nextel had been around, how many millions of dollars of investment they had put in, how the network was growing. They wanted to know how it was going to help their business be successful and make their life better.
Exactly. A wise man once told me, he's like, no one gives a crap about your business or what the logo looks like or anything like that. Even though that's the fun things of starting a business, all they care about how you're going to make their life easier and better. So
yeah, exactly. That is exactly true.
That's very good. Well, cool. So time on target. Let's talk a little bit about that. And what, to their listeners thinking, okay, what's time on target? How's that gonna, if I wanted to look into that, how does that affect me in my daily life if that's something I want to get in on?
So what we do is we come into clients and we help them figure out how they sell faster and how they can sell to more people. So the biggest issue that business owners have, especially entrepreneurs and small businesses that are growing, is there's only so many hours in a day. And as a business owner, you have to do the sales thing, you have to do the operations thing, you have multiple hats you're wearing throughout the day. And so we really we go in and we look at how they're selling, make sure it's aligned properly with how their clients make decisions, and then find all the stuff that takes time out of their day that's repetitive. How are you having to re-enter client information into multiple systems? Are you sending out emails, the same email to multiple people during the week? What types of things do you have to do that take you time that we can automate? And how do we make that sales process easier and faster, because we're getting the right stuff to the client at the right time, and we're taking things off your sales team or the business owner's plate that gives them more time to be in front of clients and do other business stuff.
The Idaho Business Podcast is sponsored by New Clean Commercial Cleaning. This is my company, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not just because I'm the owner, the creator of it, but we are a great company for servicing your janitorial needs, your carpet cleaning needs, your stripping wax needs, all your floor maintenance needs. We are there for you. Everything is backed up by the "we're not perfect" guarantee. And if it's pretty much if you call and we don't get a hold, you don't get a hold of us, we will call you back within an hour and fix the problem within 24 hours, or the cleaning's on us. So that is our promise to you. And if you call or go into the Idaho Business Podcast website, click on the New Clean logo and book a janitorial solution huddle with us, and mention that you heard about us on the podcast, you'll get 2 free restroom floor cleanings for your office for free. Tile and grout in your restrooms will be sparkling clean. And that's the offer. Tell you, take us up on it. You won't regret it. There's no strings attached. So go see them today.
This is the end of part 1 of a 2-part episode. Tune in next time to hear part 2.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.